All right, guys, some big roster moves being made this week, especially today among teams in contention for the series and for their pennants. A couple of squads getting a lot better real quick, and we wanted to bring Charles Stark back in to update our previous talk a little bit, taking a look at pennants. Now, we're not going to separate it into leagues right now. We're only talking about three teams really today: the Royals, the Blue Jays, and the Dodgers. Now, first up, we're going to talk about the Royals, currently in the top spot on the odds to win the pennant, and their lines got even better today.
Yeah, Matt, I mean, the Royals, you kind of got to like them. I was a little bit cold on them when the odds were out. You know, when we had our first webcast, we talked about the AL pennant. I didn't even include them in my article just because I thought the odds weren't really right with them. Now with Cueto, now it might be a team to get. What we got today, though, is them playing the Blue Jays here in a 3-game set, and that's going to be a fun one to watch, especially with all these moves. So you might want to reevaluate that. Cueto, a really, really tough starter, but that NL to AL move, that might be kind of tough for him. We're just going to have to wait and see how he does these first couple starts.
Yeah, you know, they're in a real good spot to snag the pennant, I think, this year, especially with some ill-timed injuries to the Yankees today and their inability to secure any outside help until now. Addition to Cueto really brings the rotation into pretty damn good status, which paired with that top offense should have the rest of the league pretty nervous. Now, right behind them, at least in the World Series odds right now, are the Dodgers, and they made some really solid additions this afternoon.
Yeah, and I think these are underrated additions. We were just talking about this. You know, I like Latos. I know the Dodgers know him real well from his time in San Diego, but the one guy I really like, and I think you like as well, is Alex Wood. I mean, this kid is tough. He's 24 years old. He just got done off a really good start against Baltimore in Baltimore, allowing 0 earned runs off of 3 hits. In his last 10 games, he's only had really one bad outing, and that was at Colorado, where pitchers go to die. So the kid, the lefty, is really tough. I think if they get, well, they're going to get into the playoffs somehow. I'm imagining they will with that staff. But I can see him as their number 3 behind Kershaw, Greinke, and then Wood. I mean, he's that good. In my opinion, he's that good.
Yeah, I agree with you absolutely. And the thing about Wood, like we talked, or Wood and Latos actually, that we were talking about before the call, is that these are two guys who I think very, very good pitchers. They just weren't pitching up to their potential, and I think that that's due in the fact that the teams they were playing on. I feel that this is going to change as they move to a contender. They perhaps maybe even have the best rotation in the league aside from maybe the Mets. Confidence is high. Lines have dropped almost 100 points at some books for the pennant. They're almost even with the Cardinals right now, and they just lost Holiday today to boot. Now, moving on to our final, but certainly not least look, we're taking a look at the Blue Jays today, who not only added Tulowitzki, who was already making his presence felt big time after that that debut the other night, but they bring in Price now.
Yeah, now, what were the odds? What did they drop from? I know they dropped quite a bit. I think you have that information. What did they drop from for the Blue Jays?
Let's see, World Series, they went from 2,500 at most books that I saw down to 1,400, and that was just today.
Yeah, David Price will do that. And actually, I got to mention this as well. When we had our pennant webcast, I wrote this in the article, and I'm just going to quote myself here. As with every team, talk about the Blue Jays now, as with every team, they need one more piece in the pen. Even with Estrada, they have some good veteran leadership, but they simply cannot win the pennant without one more good starter. And that was a quote I wrote in my article. And we talked about the Blue Jays a while, you know, about 3-4 weeks back prior to all this trade deadline stuff. And here they go. They went out. They were buyers. They were aggressive. Hats off to the Blue Jays. I don't know if they can win the East still. We can talk about that more, but they're definitely in the running, the wild card. They're definitely in the running for a playoff spot. This just got really good.
Yeah, the addition of 2 such high-quality players at such skilled positions really going to make a big difference, I think, both on the field and in the clubhouse. And while it seems the big names are off the board right now, we're definitely going to be continuing our transaction coverage right up until tomorrow's deadline right here at Sportsbook Review.